Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Q4 FY24 conference call of Nirlon Ltd. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touch-tone phone. I now hand the conference over to Ms. Purvangi Jain from Valorum Advisors. Thank you, and over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Purvangi Jain from Valorum Advisors. We represent the investor relations for Nirlon Ltd. On behalf of the company, I would like to thank you all for participating in the company's earnings call for the fourth quarter and the financial year 2024. Before we begin, let me mention a short cautionary statement. Some of the statements made in today's earnings call may be forward-looking in nature. Such forward-looking statements are subject to risk and uncertainties, which could cause actual results to differ from those anticipated. Such statements are based on management's belief as well as assumptions made by and information currently available to the management. Audiences are cautioned not to place any undue reliance on these forward-looking statements in making any investment decisions. The purpose of today's earnings call is probably to educate and bring awareness about the company's fundamental business and financial quarter under review. Let me introduce you to the management participating with us in today's earnings call and hand it over to them for their opening remarks. We have with us Mr. Rahul V. Sagar, Chief Executive Officer and Executive Director, Nirlon Ltd. Mr. Kunal V. Sagar, Director, Nirlon Management Service Private Limited. Mr. Manish B. Parekh, Chief Financial Officer and VP Finance, Nirlon Ltd. Mr. Jasmine K. Bhavsar, Company Secretary, Vice President Legal and Compliance Officer, Nirlon Ltd. And Mr. Ashish Bharadia, VP Business Development and Investor Relations, Nirlon Management Services Private Limited. Without any delay, I request Mr. Kunal Sagar to start with his opening remarks, followed by financial and operational highlights of the company. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Purvangi. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, actually. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to our earnings conference call for the fourth quarter and for the financial year 2024. Let us first take you through the financial performance of the company for the fourth quarter and the full financial year 23-24. For the quarter under review, the company reported a total income of 154 crores, which grew by 4% year-on-year and 0.7% quarter-on-quarter. EBITDA was 122 crores, which grew by 5% year-on-year and 1.4% quarter-on-quarter. The EBITDA margin for the quarter was 79.47%. Profit after tax for the quarter stood at approximately 51 crores, which grew by 3.3% year-on-year. However, it declined 1.7% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. PAT margin for the quarter was approximately 33%. For the year under review, the company's total income stood at 607 crores, a growth of 5.5% year-on-year. EBITDA stood at 481 crores, which grew by 4.4% year-on-year. EBITDA margin stood at 79.26%. Profit after tax was 206 crores, reflecting a growth of 30% year-on-year. PAT margin for the year was approximately 34%. On the operational front, the average occupancy for the company as a whole, that is Nirlon Knowledge Park and Nirlon House combined, was stable at 99.8% for the fourth quarter of the financial year 24. And as on the 31st of March 2024, Nirlon Knowledge Park was 100% occupied. Deutsche has agreed to take up additional fitted-out space at NKP, accommodating approximately 200 to 250 seats. With reference to questions from shareholders about potential restructuring or other possible value-accretive measures, discussions and consultations with concerned parties to address relevant issues are continuing. The company understands the importance of this aspect for investors and shareholders and will communicate any decision taken in this regard expeditiously. As regards whether the company intends to move the new tax regime, after careful analysis and deliberation in board meetings, the company has decided to stay with the old tax regime for the present. This is primarily due to the accumulated MAT credit available for set-offs in the old tax regime, whereby the company estimates the financial benefits of moving to the new tax regime for the financial year 24-25 will be nominal, whereas likely benefits to minority shareholders and any potential restructuring by remaining under the old tax regime are estimated to be appreciably greater. Accordingly, there is little to be gained by making an irreversible move to the new tax regime at this time and closing the option to potentially greater gain from benefits under any restructuring available only under the old tax regime. This position will be reviewed regularly by the company for any change in circumstances. Lastly, we are happy to announce that the board has proposed a final dividend of 11 rupees or 110% of the face value per share for the financial year 24, subject to approval by shareholders in the forthcoming 65th AGM. This is in addition to the interim dividend of 15 rupees per share that was paid in Q4 2024. With this, we conclude our opening remarks and open the floor to questions.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touch-tone telephone. If you wish to withdraw yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. We have a first question from the line of Rajiv Malhotra from HCPL Parts Company. Please go ahead.
Hi, Kunal and Rahul, let me congratulate you on behalf of a lot of investors for an extremely wonderful result. We have a problem of no vacancy, which cannot be better than anything for a real estate company. So hats off for the management. My only query would be, the market understands that Kunalji sold off most of their holdings, but we are happy to note that he's still on the call. He's not a director, but a director on the management services board. Is there any particular reason for that we have to get worried on or something like that?
So this is Kunal. I'll answer your question quite briefly. I've been in discussions or looking to sell my stake for some time before the actual sale. An opportunity arose in March of 2024, which I then moved forward with. And just to be very clear, the reasons for my selling are entirely personal. They're not in any way related to the company or its performance at all, in any way. So just want to mention that, and I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for answering it so clearly. If I could just do a brief follow, was GIC not interested in picking the stake?
Rajiv, I won't really want to comment any more on the sale aspect, if you don't mind, because it's not really the subject matter.
That's absolutely perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to all participants, you may press star and one to ask questions. We have a next question from the line of Satinder Singh Bedi from Eon Infotech Investments. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity and congratulations for great occupancy. What is the valuation as of 31st of March? Because that exercise would have been gotten done, so we just wanted to understand what is the valuation that has been arrived at.
Just a second, Satinder. Yeah.
Yeah.
The valuation of the company as on 31st March is approximately 4,500 crores.
4,500 crores.
Satinder, it's not a market value. This is a fair value as in our annual report, as we are required to present it.
Yeah, but I assume there'll be a market valuation exercise that would be done by a registered valuer as an annual exercise, like all other property companies or whatever listed entities with real estate assets would do. I just try to amplify, sir, where I'm coming from. The point is that the company has to undergo some restructuring in the future, okay, which we understand the management is working on. That restructuring might entail a delisting or whatever, okay. Our feeling is that having a market value estimation done safeguards the interest of minority shareholders going forward in case of any delisting activity, okay. So that because the reality is we have an asset which generates about 480 crores of NOI and a property as marquee as yours, as well leased out as yours, okay, typically would trade at maybe 8.5% kind of a yield. So our sense is that this is a property which should be valued at about 6,000 crores based on comparable deals across multiple REITs which are listed and which have similar kind of properties. So if we just look at the 15-20 valuations that today are there in the market, okay, this property for its NOI and for its stable kind of tenant base, okay, should not be valued at less than 6,000 crores, okay. So our only point is that, okay, if the valuation is close to the market value, it does protect the minority interests at a future point in time when some restructuring happens, okay. So it gives that comfort. So that's where I'm coming from.
So, Satinder, again, just to mention, as you mentioned, this 4,500 crores is the fair value that is part of our annual report and part of our statements. We don't actually do any market value per se, which we then put out into the public domain. By definition, that is subjective to an extent, and hence we don't really go down that road in terms of whether it is X or Y. It's relatively straightforward what market values are, and there are ranges based on number of norms that can be used to determine that. So we prefer not to be that specific on that,
Right. So just to persist with one follow-up on this. So how is the fair market value then calculated? So when we say fair value is 4,500, how do we calculate that currently?
I think we would leave the calculation of market value to someone like yourself there are so many ways to do it depending on what your specific purpose is or what your specific goal is in terms of determining that value, whether it is
No, sir. Sir, my point was when Nirlon has assessed the fair value at 4,500 crores, how has that figure been arrived at? The Nirlon estimation of 4,500 as the fair value.
You're saying how have we got to 4,500 value? Is that what you're saying?
The question is how have we got this
That is the fair valuation done by the approved valuers, and this valuation is being done as per the requirement of India's standard.
It's an annual exercise. Satinder, does that answer your question?
Sir, we have the line for Mr. Satinder disconnected.
Okay, so if he comes back on the line, you can reconnect him. We'll try and finish the answer.
Sure, sir. We'll move on to the next question from the line of Prayan Jain from Wealth. Please go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Please go ahead with your questions.
Yes. My question is on Nirlon House. Any plans that you can share for the visibility? It's been a while since we got any progress update on that front. Also, it states that 6,000 square feet is lying vacant. So, any efforts on that way?
Yeah, so Nirlon House, we are in the process of working on it, and as soon as there is anything significant to say, as you know, it's a strata sold property. It's a multi-owner property. So when properties are of this profile and of this nature, it takes a little bit longer. But we are very keenly working on it to find a solution which is in the best interest of everyone. And once we have anything significant to say, we will put it out there. But we are working on it very keenly, and it is a priority as well, but because of the profile of the ownership structure of the building, these things are marginally complicated to some extent, as you know.
I understand, and I completely believe that best efforts are on, but it's been since last year we've been hearing similar commentary. So I was asking if there is any progress in the discussions, because I'm sure we would have better options emerging and us deliberating on something. Maybe something is workable this year perhaps, so I was looking for some clarity.
Yeah, so right now we have nothing significant to say. When we do have something significant to say, we will put it out there. You mentioned some vacant space. I think some part of that is in the basement as well. So that's not really what we are looking to license in any way. Apart from that, the majority of the space owned by NL is licensed out. So once we do have anything significant to say, we will come back. But because of the profile, it's a bit of a we are working on it. We are working on it.
So for an old minority shareholder like me, what can I look forward, say, over the next couple of years in terms of growth? Because management of the asset has been great, but in terms of growth, what is there to look forward?
You mean growth in NH or growth in the company as a whole?
Overall.
Well, as of now, we don't have anything significant to say or any concrete plans or any significant plans in terms of growth, in terms of additional capex, additional assets within NL. As you know, the existing asset is practically fully occupied since the last few years. Occupancy has been very high, and phase 5 was completed in June 21. We received the OC. So it's a phase of consolidation now, and once we have anything significant to say, we will let you know. We do want to say, though, that the growth in the revenue will largely be driven by the profile of the licensees in NKP and also the potential increases in license fees due to escalations and if and when possible due to new licensees coming in as well. So this is definitely an area where there is an opportunity for potential growth in the revenue, and we are focusing very closely on that. And if you look at the results in FY24 as compared to the earlier year as well, you can see that due to the contracted escalations actually happening and fructifying, and hopefully now increases in license fees for any potential vacancies that are likely to happen. We hope to see growth in revenue as well.
This is, of course, standard and procedural, and I, as said earlier, I commend on the management of the asset that we have right now. We're sweating it out to its optimized potential. What I meant to ask, I'll rephrase, do we have any priorities for this year? Or is it just run the business?
So the priorities for this year would be, as we mentioned, increases in license fees, in contracted license fees when the opportunity arises for new licensees to come in, hopefully at increased license fees on better terms, commercial and otherwise. So, of course, restructuring of Nirlon House is a priority as well. So, really, for an asset of this nature, the increase in the value or the so-called growth from a stable asset can come from an increase in the top line. We are also very focused on the repairs and the maintenance and the capex, so that the asset retains its quality, which will enable us to increase license fees as well as attract new potential A-grade licensees. So that's always an area of focus, is repairs, maintenance, capex, and upgrading the asset and the facilities in NKP, and to some extent in and around NKP as well.
Got it. Just to summarize, if I ask for a simplistic view, from a 607 crore top line and 205 crores of bottom line, any estimates for the next couple of years based on the conversation we've already had with our partners?
I can't really speak on that, estimates, etc., etc. But you can see from the information that we have put out, you can make a good, you can do your own analysis. Each one can do his own analysis from the information that we have put out there. But unfortunately, we don't really want to speak of any revenue assumptions going into the FY25, 26, etc.
I was saying, in absence of any decision or outcome on the restructuring, if the things continue as is, any range of growth like 10 to 15%, something like that, to look forward? That's what I was asking.
As Rahul said, we don't normally comment on potential growth or what the estimate might be for next year. That's especially relevant in this year, in case we have, as you know, there are some potential long-standing discussions on one of our old, very valued licensees moving out and other new people potentially moving in their place. So that is a process that will play itself out over this year and the next. And we are, of course, following it very closely. And as we've mentioned, that's a process that will unfold over the next couple of years. So we don't want to be guessing in terms, without receiving any specific notices. We don't want to be guessing when exactly those vacancies may occur, when we will fill them, and what the effect on revenue might be. The only point we had made is that we see potentially good demand, and we're having good discussions for this potential vacancy. But since we don't have any vacancy notices yet, there are no specific transactions that one can actually conclude or contract. And so that's the potential variables over this year that may be there.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing all that you can, and wishing you all the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have our next question from the line of Kevin Gandhi from CapGrow Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. I hope my voice is audible.
Yes.
Sir, just want to understand. I just have one or two questions. Just want to understand what are the potential issues that management is facing in this whole restructuring of the delisting process. So it's been basically 6 quarters, around 1.5 years since I have been listening that we are going to restructure. We are doing something about the process. What all issues are we facing, and when would this finally be resolved? Is my only question. Thank you.
We appreciate your question. The answer is more or less essentially the same as we've been mentioning over our last several calls, which is based on the structure and based on the priorities of our major shareholder. We are looking at what is the most optimum restructuring or set of issues that we can take up for restructuring, and we have again, we're in the process of discussing that, and we don't really have anything more specific than what we've been saying. And I know that you're keen to have that answer, but there is no more information that we can give you, simply because it's a process that has to play out based on what back and forth happens in discussions.
No, so what question I had is, so basically any expected timeline. So basically we might have been discussing this thing since many quarters now. When would this get finalized? Yeah. So when is my only thing concerned here, sir?
We take your point, but we are not able to give you any time frame on that, Kevin. By its very nature, if there is a discussion that is going on, which is essentially a discussion that also includes discovering the various options that might be available to us and to choose the best one, and we are still in the process of getting and analyzing information that comes in, then there is no time frame one would want to put on that. The point is to get the right set of options and then move forward with them, and that's what we are working on.
So, sir, are we actually sure that we want to either delist or restructure in the form of REIT? So, in that case, are we sure about one of the options, or are we still thinking or being delusive about what to do, whether to delist or to actually restructure by the form of REIT? So, are we sure about what we want to actually do, or we are still thinking about one of the two options?
As we said, there is no decision at all on which option we are going to take. We've never put forward any information that says that we've agreed on a delisting or on something other than a delisting. So you are correct in your understanding that there is no specific direction or no specific aspect of this that we have concluded on.
Okay, sir. All the best for your future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have our next question from the line of Rajiv Malhotra from HCPL. Please go ahead.
I'm just taking it as a follow-on to one of our earlier participants regarding the fair value of our properties. I do agree that it has been clearly mentioned about having it fairly valued by a independent registered valuer. But if Kunali, if you see, it's usually the valuation is done based on market value itself, right? So the point being that the market value cannot be different by 35%. You may take it as a suggestion that if this can get narrowed at a time in the future, if and if only there is a restructuring, this may become an important point. It's a balance sheet entry which most companies do it. It's just the detail or attention paid on this entry in the notes to accounts, and your notes to accounts since the time I have seen your balance sheet in 2010 are exemplary. So maybe you could have a look at it with your accounting firms once again.
Rajiv, and the question initially was from Mr. Satinder Bedi. We thank you for that, for your thoughts and suggestions on that, and do be assured that we will certainly take a look at what you're saying to see if there's any change or addition we need to make to our accounts. And of course, during the next call, we would be in a position to update on that, whether it's something that we would change or not. But we'll certainly take a look at what you said. Thank you.
That's a perfect resolution. Thanks.
Thank you. We have our next question from the line of Lux Jain, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Sorry?
Lux, your voice is echoing. If you could just slow down.
Yeah, I'll just. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. Good. Yeah. My first question. Sir, last year we did 85 crores of capex, and this year it was 55 crores only. Why was there no increase in dividends, sir, despite of 30 crores saving in capex? This is my first question.
Can you just give us a second? You're saying that. Can you just repeat that just so we understand it properly?
So there was a reduction of 30 crores in capex, sir. Last time it was 85, and this time it was only 55 this year. So 30 crores of savings was there in capex. but we haven't increased any dividends, sir. This 30 crores, if we distribute in dividend, we get another 4 rupees or 3 rupees, 3.5.
Just give us a minute on that, Lux. We will just check that and come back to you. Just hold on a minute, please.
Yeah.
Lux, just to answer that, the previous year's 85 crores included significant amounts of capex from phase 5. And
Okay.
number has obviously reduced significantly in the year under review just now. Also, in terms of, we haven't linked that reduction in capex to the dividend because
Sorry,
we were not
I missed it. Can you repeat that? Sorry.
What we are saying is that the reduction in capex is not linked to our profitability, and hence we are not linking it to dividend.
Okay.
It's a cash flow. It's the cash flow that you're looking at.
Yes.
We are not linking that cash flow to dividend. We are linking the dividend to profitability and the ability to sustain dividend and sustainability of profitability.
Okay. But in previous con calls, you have mentioned that the sustainable capex is going to fall down to 15 crores approximately, and that is going to be sustainable. So there is more room, say 55 to 15, there's another room of more 40 crores. So there is more reduction in capex. So what are we going to do with those extra cash?
Capital expenditure we have, Lux, without getting into the specific figures. One is this, what we mentioned is the capex that is related to phase 5 and the building construction. The other is the normal capex that we do in any given year to maintain the asset, and that will fluctuate based on requirements for that particular year. Without getting into the numbers, because we can't hear you very clearly to give you specific numbers, just to give you the general idea.
Okay, so if there is any reduction from it's 55 now, if there is further reduction, we are not planning to distribute any such thing in the form of dividend.
So, again, the dividend is a function of profitability and being able to sustain a particular level of dividend over time, over successive years. So we are not, whether if there's higher cash flow in a particular year, we are not necessarily linking it to a much of higher dividend for that year and then fluctuating again in 1 year. As you said, we are trying to keep dividends consistent and sustainable.
Okay, sir, got it. Okay. And so about the net distributable cash flow, sir, if we calculate our NDCF, it comes out to 470 crores, sir. Hello? Yes, is that right, sir, that amount, 470 crores? NDCF, if you calculate?
Where are you getting this number from, if you can tell us, because we can't, again, we're not able to hear you that clearly, so it's a little confusing.
The first, it's 425 crores from cash flow from operation. And if you subtract 55 from it, which is the maintenance and capex, all those stuff, it comes to 370. And if we add 100 crores, which in NDCF, the formula itself says that we have to add that interest amount, so it comes out to 470.
I think we are not able to identify this very specifically in the cash flow that we are looking at. So if you don't mind, can we take this up with you separately? Otherwise, we'll, I think we'd rather do that rather than give you a general answer.
Okay, we'll keep it separately, so no problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
If you don't mind, if you can just write it and send us a mail, we'll answer it very clearly. It'll be easier if you just tell us specifically the lines you're looking at, because this way we will just, it won't be clear.
I'm getting this figure NDCF from cash flow only, sir, like nothing from anything great. It's just what is shown in the cash flow. I'm getting those numbers.
I can't tell you exactly. Can I request you to send us a mail on this, please?
Yeah. I'll do that, sir. That will be better. Okay. So my next question, no problem. Sir, what is the status of Nirlon House, sir? In earlier con calls, we mentioned that we are keeping this in a priority, and it's a very advanced stage to go for outright sale of Nirlon House. Are the other owners supportive, sir? And by when can we expect this sale to happen? Because we have 50,000 square feet in our Nirlon Limited. Out of that Nirlon House, 50,000 is Nirlon Limited. So when can we expect this, sir?
Yeah. So firstly, we just want to clarify that we've not really said at some point, at any point in time, that any discussions are at an advanced stage. So what I said earlier on the call, what we said earlier on the call is because of the profile of the asset is owned by multiple owners. These discussions and what we would like to do is definitely going to take some time. We have begun the process. We are doing what we can to get the best value for the company from Nirlon House. But again, we just want to reiterate that because of the profile of this building being a multi-owner building, there are various issues which will arise based on the existing ownership structure. So we are working on that, and once we have anything significant to say, we will tell you. In the interim, the Nirlon share of the building is licensed out over the past few years, and is going to be continued to be licensed out as of now. There's a very marginal vacancy that we have, and that's really what the status is now. If there's anything significant, we can tell you, but there are 9 to 10 different owners in the building, which is why it's not so straightforward to come to the right solution.
But sir, are those other owners, are they supportive for the outright sale, sir?
I mean, look, generally, of course, everybody wants the best deal and the best outcome for the building, but it's always not easy when there are different owners with different profiles, with different priorities. Some are individuals, some are corporates, some are private companies, and it's as you know, the location of the building is not too bad. It's on any basin road, as you know, and look, I mean, it's because of purely to a large extent because of the fact that it's a multi-owner building that these things do have various complications, and we are working through these issues. The ownership profile is not so easy to resolve, and because it is a asset in a very strategic location, it's not something that anybody would just want to give away. So when we have something significant to say, we will tell you.
Okay. My last question, sir. Our old promoters, that is the Sagar family, are selling their stake. There is another block in the market of Mr. Rahul Sagar, sir, of 13 lakh shares. So why is GIC not showing any interest in buying these stakes? Is it that has been answered, sir, I know, but let me just complete my question. Is it clear from this, sir, because GIC is not showing interest in buying, is it clear that we are not planning to delist Nirlon and keep this listed and wait for the REIT, which is the only option left? Because if GIC wanted to delist, they would have easily taken those stakes, which Rahul Sagar sir and
as we said right up front, this is not a call on which we are discussing share sales of various promoters and why they are buying or not selling. One thing very clear, I'm not sure where you have the information that Rahul Sagar's block is in the market. There is no such thing. So I think a lot of what you're saying is speculative. We'll request you not to speculate on that, because whether GIC buys or doesn't buy, I mean, we can't go to an assumption as to what anyone's reasons are for buying or not buying shares. So please don't speculate on that, because invariably, if I may say so, you will come to the wrong conclusion. There is, I made a very clear statement in the beginning. And please go by what we said clearly in the beginning. Don't have any speculative thoughts on this.
Yeah. So we just want to clarify that I'm Rahul Sagar speaking, and my block is definitely not on the market. So that may be some confusion somewhere. Okay.
Okay, sir. My bad, sir. I'm very sorry for that.
No, don't worry.
No, I don't know. I'm very sorry. Yeah. So no, sir, why we came on this question is because GIC, Nirlon has only two options, either to delist or to go through SPV and then become REIT. But GIC not that indicates, like for a minority shareholder from outside, it clearly shows that they don't want to delist, because in India delisting is difficult. And if
Lux, we don't want to continue on this question anymore. These are assumptions that you are making. Again, our request to you will be, please don't make these assumptions. It will lead you down a completely wrong conclusion for no reason at all.
Okay, sir. No problem. So, and one request, sir. We have been requesting for GIC to sit on the Concord for many quarters, sir, now. So just one request, please, even a word by them would be very helpful for minority shareholders, sir.
Okay. Your request is noted.
Thanks, Lux.
A lot of quarters now, sir. So even if there's some statement will be very helpful for minority shareholders, sir.
Thank you.
That's it from my side, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We have our next question from the line of Gaurav from Spark Institutional Equities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes.
Just sir, on the debt repayment, I joined a little bit late, so I might have missed in your initial comment. If you can just give some clarity on what we are intending to do with the debt on our books in terms of repayment, given that we now have a steady sort of stream of lease.
Well, we have a 5-year moratorium on our debt. Of that, where we pay interest only.
Okay.
After that, 2 years is over so far, so we have 3 more years of interest only.
Okay.
Then we have a situation where we pay 25% of the debt between years 6 and 10. And then we have a bullet payment at the end of the 10th year, which is 75%.
Got it. So for the next 3 years from now, we continue to pay the interest only.
Correct. And then after that, it is 25% over the next 5 years.
Okay. Perfect. Makes sense. And then the rate of interest, sir, remains the same? Or that can be, as part of the contract, can change, like if the cycle sort of turns in our favor?
The rate of interest is linked to T-bills.
Okay. Great. Perfect. Thanks for clarifying, sir. That's what.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have our next question from the line of Gaurav Khanna from Capgrow Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. My question is that would you like to throw any further light on the promoter selling which has been done?
Sorry, you're asking about the promoter sale?
Yeah. Would we like to share any light?
No further light, except what we said in the beginning. Did you hear what I said in the beginning? I won't repeat it then.
Sir, I have heard it in the beginning. Any other light you want to throw? I am asking that.
No, Gaurav, not at all.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have our next question from the line of Ranveer Singh from Yashwi Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So you came out with a notification in March saying that Nirlon Management Services contract had been renewed. Initially, you were paying 1% of your gross revenue as lease management services and 2% as property management services, and paying a sum of 13 crore 12 lakh 50,000 as project management services. In the existing terms, the renewed contract, what are the new terms? Like how much would you be paying as lease management? How much would you be paying as property management? How much commission would you be paying?
So the new terms are very similar to the existing contract. Of course, because there is no significant development envisaged in NL at this point in time. There are no development fees as part of the new contract, but the terms and conditions of the new contract signed is very, very similar to the earlier contract. There is no significant change, except for the fact that since there is no development envisaged in NL at this point in time, there are no development fees, which is normal.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Have a good day, and I hope this delisting process expedites and we get through it fast. Good luck to all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Arvind.
Thank you. We have our follow-up question from the line of Satinder Singh Bedi from Eon Infotech. Please go ahead.
Yeah, and thanks for the follow-up. What is the pending MAT credit available as of 31st of March 24, please?
Maybe we are in the process of working it out. As we said, it was 30 crores on 31st March 2023. We expect it to go down by approximately 5 crores. Don't hold us to that specifically, but it should come down from 30 to about 25 crores. Manish, can you confirm?
Yeah.
So when does this run down fully, sir?
Approximately 2 more years, Mr. Bedi.
2 years, okay. And sir, while we understand in the short term there are no plans, but given that we are fully occupied and the management has done a great job in doing so, and that there is traction in the market, any medium term plans of a redevelopment, let's say 3 or 5 years out, some way we could utilize the unutilized FAR. So any thoughts on that the management has exercised its brains on?
No plans for that, Mr. Bedi. As we mentioned, the development aspect of Nirlon Knowledge Park is complete at this point. The park is too new and to consider any kind of redevelopment of buildings that have been built not so long ago. So at this point, nothing.
Understood. I think that's logical. Okay. And finally, sir, we understand you kind of repeated this enough times that there are various options and nothing has crystallized so far in terms of restructuring. But in terms of the small REIT, so the government came out with the small REIT regulations. So I just wanted to understand that does that open an option for us, or are these regulations such that we don't even get to use those regulations? So just specifically from small REIT point of view, that does that open another option among the various options for us, or is it something that we don't qualify under or don't get any benefit under? So any thoughts on our small REIT rules applicability to us?
We are looking at that regulation. We are looking at that feedback that has come. We have to look at it in the context that we are already a listed company. Prima facie, this appears to be for companies that are not listed. Whether it will become relevant to us with some further changes or not is something that we are looking at and trying to understand. Prima facie, it looks like it is for companies that are not listed. So we have to always look at it in our listed context. But again, it's very new, and we are trying to see how, if at all, we would fit into anything under this particular notification.
Yeah, right, sir. Thank you very much. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. A reminder to all participants, you may press star and 1 to ask questions. A reminder to all participants, you may press star and 1 to ask questions.
Hi, are we still on the line?
Yes, sir. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Kunal Sagar from Nirlon Ltd for closing comments.
Thank you. We want to just thank all the participants for joining this call. We appreciate your interest, and we'll look forward to hearing you and having you on our next call as well. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Nirlon Ltd, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you.